Heliostat is finally here. Our exotic mission that we feel like we've been waiting for so very long. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the mission itself could be better. I wouldn't even say it's top 5. But the exotic, that's another story. This weapon called Wolfsbane. Now, I know it says it's a sword. It is an axe, but in the game, it's coded as a sword. It's got intrinsic upgrades, meaning it's a craftable exotic. And it also has a number of exotic catalysts, which is greatly going to change how this weapon performs. So far, based on the initial damage tests that we've done with it, fellas, no lie, it puts out. Now, in order to even get started doing this mission, I do need to mention that there is no call out, or at least for us when we logged in, to where the hell this mission even is. There's no area in the director. It's just right there in the portal under Pinnacle Ops. And it's actually not even the first option, which is very surprising considering it's a brand new mission. But you'll see it there listed as Heliostat. Now, even though everything else in the Pinnacle Ops playlist has the ability to be customized, like many of our other exotic missions, Heliostat does not have that, at least initially. You see, you have to do the normal difficulty first, and its fixed modifiers, and then after you get your first clear, you'll then be able to customize it just like you would anything else in the portal. Now, no lie, the normal difficulty of this is a complete pushover. Use pretty much whatever you want. There is one traversal area, but that's hardly an issue to get through. But when you initially load in, you're gonna have a few enemies that you need to clear, and then after that, you're gonna see this white circle indicator on the ground. You'll be able to interact with this, and it will spawn in a shielding scion who generates these bubbles, giving us psionic protection. This is what's going to allow us to progress through the areas and stay immune from the radiation poisoning that occasionally spawns while running through this quest. Now, that's pretty much the main mechanic for this entire exotic mission. You'll spawn in these scions, they'll help you by doing various tasks, they'll give you these shields, and our job is to deal with the bad guys. Now, let me say, at least for the normal version, you actually don't even need these bubbles. The radiation poisoning pulsates and does damage over time. For the most part, as long as you don't just stand in it forever, you can move in and out of it pretty quickly. Now, granted, on higher difficulties, I would recommend leaning into that psionic protection to dip in and out of those areas. Now, after running through this intro area, you'll reach this room with another white circle on the ground, where this time you can spawn in a Quicksilver Scion. You'll also see in this room a Vex Minotaur named Radioloria Nexus, who will drop a Radiolorian pool. Now, you're going to want to stand in this pool, and you'll see a new buff appear at the top of your screen called Radioloria Suffusion, with a meter that will continue to fill up as you stand in this pool. Now, once this meter is filled up all the way, the Quicksilver Scion will make its way to this Quicksilver that's blocking the path ahead. Here, you'll run up to it, you'll interact with it to help the Scion clear the barrier. And that too is a pretty consistent mechanic throughout this entire quest. Now, this brings us to our first encounter, if you even want to call it that. It's pretty straightforward. There are 4 security nodes that you need to destroy to progress. The first one is in the very center of the room. After that, many enemies will start to spawn that you'll want to clear out, including more Minotaurs who will drop those Radiolorian pools. You'll stand in it and you'll wait for that meter to fill up, and then a Scion will make his way to one of the 3 block doors inside of this room. Remember, you want to go to whichever one the Scion goes to. You'll then help him clear the barrier, and you'll head into the room, clear the ads, and in there at the top, you'll see a security node that you can shoot. You'll essentially repeat these steps in all of the rooms, shooting each one of these nodes. Now, after shooting all 4, the floor in the center of the room will open up, allowing us to drop down into the first traversal area. Now, here on these catwalks, there's going to be a panel that you want to activate, which will open up a door to go through. Now, you may notice that there's a ton of doors in this room, and in the next few areas, some of them are just going to be a dead end, and others will kill you. And they kill you pretty fast, because you'll like literally walk up to it, it spawns in this lightning, and yeah, you can kind of dodge it, but sometimes it like spawns in before you even get to the end of it. And yeah, it pretty much instantly kills you. Now, the correct door to go through is going to be marked by this white light in the entryway. So just take note of that when looking for any of these doors, guys. And that's a pretty consistent thing across all of the correct doors throughout this entire mission. Now, in this underground area, before you can proceed, you do want to interact with the panel. You'll see the panels here almost in the middle of the room, and then the doorways themselves, or at least the correct doorway here, seems to always be in this corner area. You'll run through there, you'll proceed forward, and this is going to be this narrow hallway almost, with a number of doors on the left and right hand side of you. The correct door seems to always be this one almost at the end here, directly on the right. Then upon going through there, you want to go to your left, and then you don't want to go all the way to the end of this area right here, because you're just going to run into this doorway that will kill you. But instead, there'll be this little cubby to your left before you get to the end that you want to go down into. Now, that will then spit you out to the same circle area where you can call in a hacking Scion. This is the other type of Scion that will be assisting you. After calling him in, you want to go up to this terminal right beside you and then interact with it, and then go to the other side of the room and interact with that other terminal across from him, which will then open up this door in the center. Now, in this next room, room, you'll notice that there are 3 terminals on the left and 1 terminal at the end there. You want to head to the one at the end, take a look at it and see which marking it is. In this example, it's an arrow pointing up. You then want to head over to the terminal on the left, call the scion over there. Then you go to the 3 terminals there on the other side and interact with the one that's matching your symbol. Now, if you've done this correctly, you'll see a text that pops up that says that elevator access is granted. However, if you do this wrong, you will spawn in that radiation poisoning, which for us literally wiped us one of our runs. Now, again, when you do this correctly though, you will be granted access to this elevator in the middle of the room. Now, this will start lowering an elevator in the midst of a lightning storm. Yes, this lightning will instantly kill you. Now, you can ride the elevator down, or you can actually slide down. In some ways, it's even easier because you can get a better field of view of each of the nodes that you're going to need to shoot in order to deactivate these electric shields. Now, you could shoot them from afar, but really, you got to wait till you get close to it, or at least the elevator gets close enough to it, as it will expose itself and allow you to actually shoot the thing to deactivate those shields. Now, I will say the elevator does not go back up. It only goes down. It only goes down once. That's what she said. That's what he said. But don't worry if you die. You'll spawn back at the top and you can just slide your way down. Just keep in mind that once you deactivate the electric shields, they do return. So you'll have to deactivate them again. Now, after getting to the bottom here, you'll progress forward and then drop down to this next area and you'll clear out the ads ahead, which will allow you to progress into this center area. Now, once here, you're going to interact to spawn another hacking scion. And you'll notice these screens in this center area with symbols, as well as these 3 side rooms. Now, if you look at the 3 screens in the center, they all have the same symbols in the same order, and you're going to need to input these correctly in order from left to right. So in this particular example, we have a diamond, or what looks to be a diamond, as our first, an X symbol as our second, and then an arrow or arrows pointed to the right as our third. Now, what you're going to need to do here is enter these side rooms, and you're going to want to look for that first symbol. You'll look across the glass, and you'll see 3 more symbols, and upon finding the symbol that matches with your first symbol, that is the correct symbol you're going to need to interact with. So in our case, this diamond looking one right here. Now, once you've found the correct room though, you need to call the scion over to the terminal. You'll interact with it, which will immediately call him over, and then you want to find these grates. They're damageable, they're either on the floor or on the wall, and you'll shoot them out, and you'll go through this path, pretty much popping you out on the other side. You'll then shoot through another grate and do the exact same thing again, and you'll end up in this room with the terminals that you need to interact with and a number of enemies. You're going to clear them out, and then you'll go up to the correct symbol and you'll interact with it. Now, if you've done this correctly, it will say security code fragment accepted. However, if you don't, it will spawn in enemies that you'll need to kill. Now, in order to get back to the main room, you can either just go back the way you came, or you can actually look up directly in the middle of this room and you can jump up, which will take you over the top of this war mine looking area and drop down directly in the middle of the room. Now, you're essentially going to repeat this process now, but for the other 2 rooms. Again, you're going to look for the second symbol, you'll interact with the terminal, you'll track the scion over, you'll shoot the grates to go to the other side, and then do the exact same thing for your third symbol. Now, once all 3 symbols are activated successfully, your objective will update, and you'll need to clear out a bunch of ads in that center area, which upon doing so, will allow you to then interact with a panel to activate Warsat elevators. This will also spawn in a chest for you. And at least from my experience, it was never a tier 5. It seems like all the completion drops are saved to the very end. Now, after this, you want to head outside. Now, this is a pretty big area, and if you play Spire the Watcher, yes, it's very similar to that, but this is really the only real traversal slash jumping puzzle area. In this area, though, there will be 2 sets of elevators to look out for. You'll hop on this elevator, you'll ride your way to the top, you'll jump on this platform, and here you can spawn in things like those shielded scions who will protect you against the pulsating radiation that's pretty much all over the place here. Now, the entire goal of this area is really just to progress to this furthest reaching corridor, which really only has 1 of 2 openings. For instance, on this elevator side, the opening is right here on the right, and you can barely see it, but when you get up to it, you'll notice that there is an opening on this platform that's protruding out. When you go to there, you can then activate the terminal to your left, and then after that, if your friend's got the other side, you could just run straight through this portal, which will take you to the Gravlift, and upon doing both terminals, this will unlock it, which will bring you to the next area. Now, I'm gonna let both of these play out, just in case you're a bit confused as far as traversal goes. It is pretty straightforward. As far as the other area goes though, the opening, instead of it being on the side like the one we just showed, it's actually going to be underneath. Again, it's an opening you can easily miss, but again, just watch the gameplay in front of you. Now you've successfully done those terminals, it's time to take the Gravlift up to the final encounter. And yes, this is the final encounter. It surprised me too. It's pretty much the same, but with more enemies. Again, you're gonna clear ads, you're gonna kill Minotaurs, which will spawn in those Radiolarian pools. You're gonna stand in them, you're gonna wait for the meter to fill up. You're then gonna help the Scion clear the barrier to one of the rooms. You'll then go inside that room and deal with the enemies. And then at the top of the room, you'll find a terminal that you can interact with. Now you're gonna do this one more time for the other side of the room. And then after interacting with the second terminal, you'll now see a green text saying satellite launch deferred, and the boss Valis Dune will spawn in. Now, if you're like, Cross, is that the same Valis? Yes, or at least I think it is. If you remember the Tree of Probability Strike, yeah, that guy. I don't know, he seems smaller. Now, his health bar is going to have immune gates, and pretty much every time you do a third of his health, he'll go immune, and at this point, you're gonna have radiation that will be seeping out, and on higher difficulties, you definitely want to go to the Scion that will give you a shield. They'll be present at the back of the room. Get that shielding, and then to get the boss's immune shield down, there's gonna be a wyvern mini boss called a Warden. Simply just killing it, and that will lower the shields. You repeat this process, guys, until you defeat the boss. Now, you're gonna interact with some terminals in the center of the room. You'll shoot that thing in the middle, and you'll get a chest to spawn in, which will reward you with the Wolfsbane Exotic. Now, like previous exotic quests, this is a craftable exotic. In the very first week, you'll be able to unlock all the intrinsic upgrades, along with a single exotic catalyst, that being this week's Attrition Orbs. Let's start with the intrinsic upgrades first up. Throughout the mission, there are 3 sets of 3 Vex nodes that you're going to need to destroy with Wolfsbane. So you're going to need to equip it, because you cannot do damage with any other weapon. Now, this one seems to be pretty buggy. For instance, myself, I got all 3 upgrades for my intrinsics from the very first set. Others said they got maybe just 2 or maybe just 1. I'm not really sure what's going on here. I think you're only supposed to get 1 intrinsic per set of Vex nodes, which is why we're going to go through each one of these Vex nodes just in case. The first set, though, is in this first traversal area, right after the first combat area. The first node is when you jump down, and it's right here in the back corner of this room here. The next node is in the next room, where you jump across through all the various doors. It's going to be at the very end of this room if you follow this path. Don't worry, you won't die, and if you do, you can just revive. Now, the third is going to be in this side room if you jump down to the very bottom to this platform here. Now, the next set of Vex nodes is going to be in the second traversal area right before the boss room. Now, this one is just a bit easier to show rather than tell, so just follow the path that we take here. Now, the final set of nodes is in the boss room itself. You see, there is a node in each of the side rooms. One is at the very bottom of the room. Another one is in the other room in this corner to the left when you first go into the room. And then the final is just outside the room in the corner behind this box. Now, listen, you may get lucky and get all intrinsics right out the gate like I did, or you may have to hit every single one of these. One thing I did note, though, was that you could not share this with your fire team. For instance, because the node would instantly destroy from a single swing of an an axe, there doesn't seem to be any type of shared progress, which is annoying, which means this section may actually be better running solo, or at least you do the first set of nodes and your teammate does the second set and your third teammate does the final sets. And hopefully you'll all get lucky and get all intrinsics right out the gate. But yes, it is a bit aggravating. And the reason why you want these intrinsics is because they unlock the rest of your perks on the exotic itself. You will have to level up the weapon, but you can just sink resources into it and that will level it up. But you'll be able to go through there and select all of its various perks to fully outfit the weapon. But this takes us to the thing that we're most interested in, the exotic catalyst. Now, just like previous exotics, it seems like this is going to be time gated. This week we have Attrition Orbs. Now, to get this exotic catalyst, there will be a data pad at the start of the mission that you're going to need to interact with. This is literally like almost at the very beginning of this entire mission. You'll go around the corner, it'll be right here to your right. And then after doing that, you're going to see a terminal nearby that you'll be able to insert the data pad into. After that, you simply just need to complete the entire mission. And at the end, you will receive the Attrition Orb refit. You'll go back to the Enclave, you'll slot this in. And so far, Attrition Orbs is actually pretty nice. It's kind of an orb generating machine, especially in its alternate weapon action form. Again, Wolfsbane is not really that impressive of an exotic on its own. It's really when we accumulate those stacks of nano assaults and then hit the reload function that will light up our axe, indicating that it's ready to blow its load. Now, the beautiful thing about this exotic is that it actually synergizes with Outbreak. That's right, the Siva nanites allows you to accumulate those stacks of nano assaults faster. And so far, it seems like the best way to do damage rotations is to have a teammate use Outbreak, just one, and then the rest of you can just use your axes as normal. Light attacks accumulates nano assault, you then convert to your other damage form, and then you just go to Pound Town. I like to cycle in 1 heavy attack and 2 light attacks. It's got a pretty cool animation, guys. It spawns in like this nanite firestorm. And if you want to check out our live review, guys, we'll have that link down below. Overall, I wish this exotic quest was better. It should be better. To me, it really missed the mark. The question is this exotic quest going to expand past the point of what we've experienced? And it's possible. We've seen it with Choir. We've seen it with other exotics. So far, I'm not a fan of its base form. I really do hope that over the weeks, this exotic quest does open up more areas. And you even see in like the Traversal section, these areas underwater. Could be the copium in me, guys, but who knows? Maybe we'll be able to actually go down in there. Maybe there's a way we can drain this water. One can only hope. Whatever the case, though, it's a solid exotic that we'll be rocking some builds with this week. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching. And as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.